I feel pretty good about speaking today. I'm just hoping to get my experience out there and people will hopefully learn from that. I think my experience so far with the tax system and government services is that it's quite opaque. It's not very clear. It causes confusion sometimes. As a 24-year-old coming into work for the first time, I found it pretty confusing to understand tax, and like straight out of school, I don't think I had a clear education about tax and how all that worked. So I was left to fend for myself, as it were, in terms of government services.
I spoke about our experience of working with women and gender diverse people impacted by the floods in Maribyrnong in October 2022. We worked very closely with women from migrant and refugee backgrounds especially, and we spoke to those women and we captured their experience of the floods in this beautiful report, which is called Lessons from the Maribyrnong Floods. And the report really highlighted the gaps in the system and all the access barriers faced by women when accessing help and support after the disaster of the floods in Maribyrnong in 2022.
I was talking about community-led recovery as well as resilience and the need for the community to be deciding how we utilise our taxes and ultimately rebuild our communities after disaster, prepare for them and create infrastructure that's resilient, and prioritising housing, given that we are in a housing catastrophe and then we've also got a climate crisis on top of that. I'm from the Northern Rivers in northern New South Wales on Bundjalung country. Our communities have been devastated by floods, but also prior to that we already had a rising homelessness issue. So that compounded has meant more people are displaced now, and we really need to come back to collective action and equity that prioritises the community first.
In addition, I think to raising the rate of payments such as AusStudy and JobSeeker, I think having people similar to myself with lived experience and former experience of the services system, taking part in the development and changes of government service systems, I think would go a long way.
I highly believe transparency and equitable taxation, especially for high net worth individuals, and a ceiling on tax, because as one of the speakers said, poverty is a symptom of the greed. And so to really exploring putting a limit to that individual greed and moving away from this really individual Western capitalistic way to going back to our beautiful collective way of living where everything is democracy, but in this real sense, I think is what I'm looking forward to come out.
I think we need to have participatory budgeting around taxes so that we are making those decisions, but ultimately we need to tax those that are making the most profit from the exploitation of others and also the world. So we are not taxing our fossil fuel industry, yet it extracts from our resources and also puts our lives at risk with rising disasters, but also health implications, because we know mining is killing people faster than smoking. And that's a massive issue when we are not even benefiting financially from the extraction of the fossil fuel industry.